Hey friends, welcome back to my studio. I hope you're having a good day today. I'm going to paint a landscape, and I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to paint the round hay bales that you see in hay fields. So I sketched this out. So I have structure, a game plan, a way to lead you into the painting, those kinds of things. And most importantly, see my trees are shapes? I like to paint too much detail in my trees, so I'm telling myself, paint shapes. I'll scan this in and I'll put it in my Facebook friends group. The link is in this video's description. I'll put it in the reference photo album. I've got a reference photo also on Unsplash. I'll link this in the video's description. I turned the hay bales because I think it's kind of more interesting. But see how the trees are just dark and they're pretty much just a simple shape. I'm going to paint on a 10-inch by 10-inch canvas from Michaels. I love these 1.5-inch thick ones. It's their level 3. What else? Oh, and I'm going to use, let's just talk colors and then we'll jump right in. I'm going to use, I'm grabbing them, Prussian Blue. These are all Liquitex. Hooker's Green. So sky, grass. And then, so I have a little bit warmer and a dirt color, some raw sienna. I might add black. I'm definitely going to add titanium white. Okay, let's have some fun. Okay, just a couple thoughts. I have a simple landscape. Light at the top for the sky, goes darker to the bottom. I did put came back with a little bit stronger raw sienna up here. I used a 1-inch flat brush from Low Cornell. And I used raw sienna and titanium white. I mixed a puddle. I mixed way more than I needed. I do that sometimes. I like that there's some marks in there that'll probably end up helping me. One thing I'm a little nervous about is blue and orange are complements. So Prussian Blue and the raw sienna hint at complements, but since this is dry, I'm going to leave it until tomorrow. I can just paint right over it and it won't mix. So I won't make, a gray color or a really dark gloomy sky. This is already a muted blue, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Worst case scenario, it just makes my sky a little warmer and I put a lot of white and blue and cover it all up. So, okay guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Hey friends, let's chat for a second. So I used my traceable. It's 8 inches by 8 inches when I sketched it. I had printed, so the math is to print it out at 125%, but it was about a 1/2 inch too big. So I don't know if I just did something goofy. I printed it out at 120%, and that's really close. Scribbled on the back with chalk pastel. I'm going to keep it because I put in the hay bales so I can see where they go, but I'm going to probably paint right over them too. And I don't know if I'm going to want to just freehand them back on or what. So I'm going to keep the traceable in case I need to use it again. Let me set that over someplace. I'm going to start a new palette and I'm going to put Hooker's Green out and some white. Well, I'll put some raw sienna out too. Actually, I'll probably put all the colors out. And you could approach it a couple different ways. I'm going to paint these trees. Usually back to front works when you don't know what to do, because I'm going to have like a green field that comes up over the base of these trees. So I'm going to start with the trees. Oh, the background, we need to back up just a smidge. I used a black chalk pastel for the traceable, and then I did come back and sketch a few things with a charcoal pencil. Okay, the sky is just straight up Prussian blue and white. I went down in brush size to a 3/4 inch from Royal and Langnickel. Here. I'm looking to see if, oh, I don't think you'll be able to read the writing on it. I had used a 1 inch from Low Cornell for the rusty background. And I used some matte medium too, because I wanted a lot of transparency. And then I came back with another layer here and there, because I didn't, just to control the transparency slowly until I thought it was pretty good. Like I've got some orange coming through, but there's gonna be a tree that covers that, and I kind of wanted that to stay. I could come back and glaze some of that color, later if I want, if I don't think I have enough of this raw sienna in the sky. So I had matte medium there, Prussian blue and white. And I'm gonna save this palette, but I don't think there's enough room. I've got some pretty big blobs. So there's enough room for me to add the green. So I'm just gonna save that. I might transfer some of that color over to my other palette. Okay, I think that catches this up. You can paint around the hay bales. There isn't like a right or a wrong. I do have my, I did take my trusty triangle. I just love this little triangle. It has paint on it. It's just a 12 inch. Gosh, I got it at Michael's for not much money. But so my camera's at an angle, my tabletop easel's at an angle. I'm not standing in front of my painting when I paint like this, so that I can video and you guys can follow along and watch too. So then I make sure that it's fairly square to the edge of my painting. And this one was coming down. So I just make sure like this line is fairly straight. It doesn't have to stay straight, but it'll help the structure of the painting. So I don't all of a sudden have everything kind of, when I get done and I look at it straight on or photograph it, I realize some things are slanting downhill on me. So I checked that line. I redid this line, straightened it up, and then I made sure that this line is fairly straight. Okay, hopefully some of those tips help. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, just a couple thoughts. So I painted rocks. They looked like rocks, lumps. Had some brownish greenish up here. Oh, I mixed the Hooker's green with the raw sienna and got a really nice green. I forgot how much I like that. And I did add Mars black so I could get a more brown color. I probably could get something close, but it just was easier to add Mars black. Put in like maybe a tree trunk indication, putting in some sky holes. I think I have too many up here now. Sky holes just being mostly the Prussian blue and white. I did do a little raw sienna in white. Put that up in there. I think I'm gonna stop and put in this strip and see what I think. When I look in my phone and get back, I need to step back. It, of course, looks better than when I'm right on top of it. Oh, I think I put too many sky holes in, especially on this one. Come back and play with it some more. But it's getting there. I mean, it'll read as trees. So that's what's kind of fun about it. And I'm also sticking to my traceable where I have rocks for tree shapes. And see, when you just have the black, my sketching, and then the white paper, I think it reads even more as trees. Maybe I just need more contrast. I might not have strong enough contrast. Okay, moving onward. Just wanted to pop in with what's going on. Oh, and then so I'm using flat brushes. I haven't used this one since the background. But I added a 3/8 inch flat craft brush from Michaels. It's a number 10 Craft Smart. I could have used this one. I just a little more control for I wanted a little skinnier line. And this doesn't have very many bristles. So I knew I could get a skinny line. Where this one has a lot of bristles, I can get a skinny line, but you gotta work it more. Okay guys, I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, let's chat for a minute. So I'm painting slow. Just because I don't paint that many landscapes, I'm reminding myself pretty much horizontal. Well, these are some tall, like a field of I don't know what in the background. So I have a lot of these going up. But then I'm painting horizontal because as you go further back, you just paint grasses horizontal and then kind of hinting at some vertical things. I kind of hinted at some vertical things here just to get a feel for it. What else? Lighter and cooler, and I'm also thinking warmer and darker as we get more forward. I don't know. I think I need to put in some. When I get back from it, I don't like this area, but when I get back from it, it actually looks pretty good. I put in the shadows of the hay bales just to have them in there. I think maybe I'll work on this foreground a little bit more tomorrow and then get the hay bales in there. That'll help me too. It might look a whole lot better. I put some more tree trunks. Oh, I don't know if I've given you much of a tour yet. We'll do that. My palette, I just keep mixing various greens. Yeah, pretty much just using the greens. This minty green works pretty good in the background. I like that. Okay, let's I don't know if I've done a close-up tour. See if I can get it lined up here. All right, we'll get a little closer on the trees if it'll focus. I don't know if it will. So you can see some of the tree trunks are light, some of them are dark. Just kind of hinting at them. Put in some sky holes in the tree. I can kind of see whatever's, this a field is something off in the distance. It's taller than the field of hay bales that have been cut. So there's not a lot going on down here yet. Okay, hopefully that helps. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, there's no rush to paint this quicker. And sometimes I like that. You know, just kind of take my time. Don't rush it. You know, I put in some brown back in here. You can see just little bits of it coming through here and there. And then I came back with just some kind of a green-gray horizontal, smooth it out. But it still adds a little texture in it. And then I came with some yellow or green and added a little bit of that. Just kind of playing with it, kind of hinting at stuff that's in the field. Okay, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, a couple of thoughts. I made these darker. Actually, that maybe shouldn't be quite so dark. It's off in the distance. This one has more detail and is warmer. That one's cooler. So they go back in the distance a bit. I made this lighter. So what I'm looking at is the contrast. I like this. I don't want to mess with this area. And I just kind of put in some weeds and then I come back and smooth them out. I like the big thick white that pops. Maybe put a little more white there. So basically I'm looking at the contrast. I took a photo of it and made it black and white, and it could use a little more. I think I'm going to try and make this lighter and see if that does the trick. I could kind of whitewash it with some zinc white and some matte medium and see. That actually might be kind of interesting. And then do I like, really the value is more important than the color. Do I like that this is so rusty right down here? I kind of left a little rusty going back this way. I like the white edge on these in the background. I put some blue in there too. Anyway, that's basically what I'm looking at now. The structure's fine. I'm just looking at the values. And then if I get too much detail in there, I wipe it out. And then sometimes I come back and put it back in. I just keep playing with it. Quite a while ago, I made this more blue rather than white or cream to help push it back. Maybe I need more cream. You just kind of play with it until you're happy with it. I hope some of those thoughts and comments help. Some paintings take me a little longer than others just to kind of wrestle out the values or the colors. The values are the lightness and the darkness. The color kind of matters, but the value almost always matters more. Okay guys, I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, I think I'm done. I lightened this up even a little bit more. So matte medium and some titanium white. I started working, this is my background palette, and I put out, oh it's gonna run. I put out some matte medium and then had more room to mix with the white. And I've also been working from this palette too. So, and then I warmed this up. I think what was bugging me is this was straight out of the tube raw sienna, and it was too strong. So I took some Hooker's green and some raw sienna and mixed a green, and then put matte medium in it and glazed it over that raw sienna bottom that I had. Oh, that's gonna look really dark because of the lighting. I just set it on the pliers just because it helps keep it from sticking. So I think that really helped. And then one of the last things I did is I keep kind of like darkening and warming. I warmed this up some more. I may have lightened those up a little bit with just a little titanium white and matte medium to glaze some white over it. And then I realized I had too many skinny little bits in here because everything's pretty loose. So after I glazed some yellow or green over, then I glazed some white after it dried to lighten it back up. And then I came back in with a bigger brush. Might have been this 1/4 inch. Doesn't really matter. And then I made bigger strokes around the base of this hay bale, which I think works better. I had too many little ones. You can have more detail. This is the star of my show. And I'm hoping it kind of pulls you. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of white. I'm hoping it kind of pulls you between the tree and that. It might not, and it's okay if it doesn't. Because this definitely pulls you in. The darker to lighter pulls you in. You can kind of go in all the way back into here, those kinds of, and then of course these guys lead you in too. So I have lots of things keeping you in. But I think that's better that I made these looser and bigger. I do that quite a bit. I think more detail is going to help me. A lot of times more detail is too much. Well, let me know if you give this one a try. I put my 8x8 sketch design in my Leslee Troe Facebook friends group. It's under the media tab at the top. And then it's I only have one album, and it's a reference photo album as I'm videoing this video. I like it. I like that it kind of has a rustic whitewash look. That's more what I had in mind when I started, and I had too much color until towards the end. Super appreciate your support. Great, big, happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye, guys.